What up? I'm back. If you saw my last couple of videos here, I've been talking about a four-player chess game. I previously showed you my code that I have currently written for my Java version, but the final goal for this entire project is to create an Xbox game. So Xbox has like an Xbox Indie Live Arcade, whatever they call it. So my friend kind of wants to make an Xbox game, and I'm helping him out slash just giving myself something to do. So he downloaded the XNA framework, Microsoft's XNA framework, which is how Xbox games are made, Windows Phone games are made, and Windows PC games are made. Not like full blown PC games, but the Windows PC. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he downloaded that, and so I was like, I might as well go ahead and download that, play around with it a little bit. I've messed with it once in a group project back in college on a Zune game. Zune, if you remember those were great. Uh, I made a Tetris game. No, I didn't really make it. It was a group effort. I did a little bit of it. Anyways, that's the only experience I've had with XNA. So I downloaded XNA, downloaded Visual Studio, because I'm pretty sure you have to have Visual Studio in the first place. So I downloaded that. I got the XNA framework, SDK or whatever, the framework. And I Googled XNA tutorials. I found a good Pong tutorial. It's very simple, it's very basic, and I pretty much understood the basics of how the XNA framework works. So then I started on my chess, and you hear that bloop. Somebody really wants to talk to me on AIM, if you can imagine that people still use that. What can I say? Anyways, XNA framework, chess. Let's take a look. So before I was using Eclipse, now I'm using Visual Studio, slightly different user experience here. But it basically all looks the same. You're all looking at code, no big deal. I converted my board piece classes and my piece class and my main game class here. So let's take a look at board piece real quick. Board piece is the same basic fundamental principle that the other board. He keeps trying to talk to me. I feel so bad. I told him I'd put him in the video, and he's like, I don't want my name in that video. Crazy random people emailing me, and I was like, all right, man, if you don't want to be famous, I understand. I should just sign out of AIM, but oh well. Shut up, I'm signing out of AIM. Turning this off. There we go, no more sound. So I converted my board piece class. It's basically the same as the other one. Where is my cursor here? It'll store my piece, so that'll be my chess piece, my pawn, my king, my queen, etc. It'll be a string image type. The string is basically going to be a file name, so everything in XNA, basically, if you're going to create an Xbox game or a game for your phone, a text-based game isn't the best idea. So it's all going to be graphical. So I've created, I guess I could show you that real quick. Go to my desktop real quick. I got a couple folders here. Here are all my pieces. So I basically created these sprites, or I might have stolen them off the Google's internets. But basically all my sprites for my pieces. So it is the team name, black, blue, red, white, followed by the piece name. So white king, white bishop, white knight, etc. Pull back my code here. So this will store the string of the image type. So this will be white pawn, white queen, etc. Boolean valid. So again, that's the valid board piece. Some of the pieces basically aren't valid. You can't move there. I have that. And a vector 2 basically holds my position. So a vector 2, I guess I haven't done my research. I don't know what I'm talking about. But as I have seen through that Pong tutorial. Basically, that just holds an X and a Y position. No big deal. So when I create a board piece, I give it an XY position. So again, and this is all graphical now, it's not text-based. So I have positions, if you are familiar with any graphical programming, and I hate this. 0, 0 starts in the top left corner of the screen. At the X plane is normal as you would expect, goes from 0 from the left and increases to the right, but Y starts at 0 at the top and increases as you go down. And every time I try to program something graphical, I always forget that, and it always messes me up somewhere in my maths. It's stupid. Why can't 0, 0 be the bottom left corner? Right? Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, so if I only have a vector here, these are all my constructors, all my constructors. So if I only pass it some coordinates, then that's going to be an empty / invalid space. Or I could pass in a string and a vector. The string will be the image type. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. This image type is for the board piece, so that's going to be the type of board piece it is. So basically just white or black. So if you've seen a chessboard, it's basically, it alternates white or black. That's what that is. This isn't the player piece. My mistake. So that'll just be white or black basically. And then the position, and then again occupied if a piece occupies that. And then my third constructor will take in that piece. It'll take in a piece. And this position here is the position to display my piece on the actual board. I do a little fancy stuff there. I'll show you later. So that's my board piece class. I also have a piece class. Again, it's the same idea. It's got a player, so who it belongs to, white, black. Instead of silver or gold, I just have blue or red. Makes more sense. Again, a type, pawn, knight, queen, so forth. My image. This is a texture. So basically, it's just an image, a .png file. You could probably use .jpeg, a GIF, whatever you want to use. And there's all kinds of textures. I think there's texture 3D and some other stuff. Right now I'm just using a plain 2D sprite or a simple image. A boolean if it's active, like we've seen before. And then a position of the piece. So where am I placing the piece on the screen? You'll see here, this is a little different than my other class. This class, I guess this is inheritance or something. Again, I haven't used C# much, so I'm not sure of the syntax here, but I think this is some kind of inheritance with the colon. So it's basically inheriting or expanding upon this drawable game component, whatever that is, part of the XNA framework. So I guess these drawable components are basically things you draw on the screen. So basically, your sprites or your background or anything you want to display on the screen. So I'm creating a drawable component, basically, as far as I understand it. So again, here are my constructors. I won't go through them in detail. And then here are some standard methods that the XNA framework provides. So you have an initialize, which basically you can set some variables and do some things like that. You have your load content, where you actually load your images or music files, sound files. I guess you basically load those into memory or something, I would guess. Again, this is basically my first time actually looking at XNA, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But I did one tutorial, and now I can make stuff work. So hey, that's not too shabby without reading any documentation or knowing what the hell I'm doing. But basically, load content is where you load in all your images. And this is basically the file of my image. So these are pieces. So this is what I was talking about before. This is the player, so white, black, blue, or red, a space, and then the type, pawn, queen, so forth. So that'll load in my sprite images for each chess piece. Update, so basically you have a draw and an update. There's also an unload, I guess it's not in here, but you have a draw initially where you draw your piece initially to the screen, so that'll draw my image at the position, which was that vector 2, so whatever I declared that as. I don't know what this color.white is. I guess that's like a background color, possibly, which you never see anyway. I'm not sure. And then this update will update the image, so the screen gets redrawn, I guess, about basically 60 frames per second, if you have a simple program. So update will be called basically 60 times per second, and it will redraw, the screen. And I'm at my 10-minute mark, so I'm going to stop here, and then I'll start it back up, and I'll actually run the program and show you what I've got so far. Stay tuned.